Your Excellency, Ambassador, colleagues on the high table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I was seated comfortably, hoping to see a few presentations before I speak. But here I am to start this conference. I must say that I'm delighted to see many faces here in Kenya to discuss issues relating to innovation. Most of you probably don't know that around early 2006, the whole thing about IT was started here. We had invited the president to talk to him about how we can utilize ICT to transform the country. And I had just joined the government from the university, and my minister was new. And so we said we need to do infrastructure, we need to do all kinds of things. And we had a number of people from out of the country to make presentations. And the president said, I want to sit and wait and see what it is. So we had not planned for him to stay, but he stayed on. But that is how it started. At the time, we were working on connecting Africa to the rest of the world through the undersea cable. And a few meetings later, we bolted out of the process and decided to go it alone, Kenya. Eventually, we connected Kenya. We did the terrestrial fiber. Also, as I speak to you, much of the infrastructure is done. And at the time, we had a very simple, 5 simple objectives that we were looking at. That infrastructure, then we look at content and applications. And I'm happy to say here that a number of people came to support. After the cables landed, I remember Eric came and said he needed 40 megabytes of broadband to IHAP. And I went to explain to the government, and this forms the first challenge, that most policymakers don't understand what it is the youth want or what the direction of innovation is going. And he said, who would pay for it? I said, no, we just put it there so that we can stimulate this youth. And it was a problem to discuss it. But eventually, we are beginning to see more and more leaders beginning to understand what we really intend to do. We have gone through many areas. As you see, content and application in this country, we have done fairly well, but we haven't reached there yet because there are several roadblocks all over the place. If someone gave me $1 billion, I would, in fact, that's what I've been thinking, I would change everything, and you find several innovators in this country, because government has the power to actually stimulate the entire economy in terms of e-transactions, for example. If you look at e-government, there are several areas that if we open up, you would find that several application developers would emerge. We've been working on digitization of, say, land registry or all government registries. Once you get them into digital content, you would develop another industry that would create several applications. But government has also taken very bold steps, especially on open data. Open data would change this country. And the strategy that we are getting into this is, initially we thought we can have the triple helix, where you have the research, the government, and the industry to begin to move that. It's not enough in African government because for many years we have mistrusted government, and it's taken very long to create the trust. And my strategy has been that I would introduce what I call a quad helix. You have government, you have industry, you have the research institutions, and civil society. Civil society, once they tick that, then meaning the rest would say, let's give it a chance. And that's what we've been doing in various projects, that you cannot leave any one of those behind and really succeed. People say we have succeeded, especially in e-transactions, because of the successes that we've had in M-Pesa. But still, we haven't succeeded because this is only on financial services. We have so many areas that are upcoming, and I think if you are able to go around and see the new applications that are coming up, especially on the agricultural sector, you would see that we have not done much. E-health, we have not done much. Education, e-learning, we have not done much. And here we need various applications come up and succeed like the financial services have succeeded. Then if we look at innovation and financing, we have not attained the confidence levels that you need. I know there are several projects which people are debating whether should I try it, should I take it out there. We need that confidence. And once the confidence is there to move forward with the project, then we must create the environment to nurture these new innovations and push them beyond. I'm saying this because you have the initial funding. And funding, banks in this country have not understood practically what is happening in this when you go seeking for funds to do an application which they don't understand. Funding has become a problem. And here you will need similar risk takers to actually take the risk and move forward with you. So you find there are some ideas that are developed, and there's a stage after pickup where most enterprises die. And this is where you actually need angels to come and support and move this forward. There are several applications I've seen that can succeed, but still we have the challenge of who would come and to do the funding. And of course we have those investors who have come into this country to take the risk. But then the discipline among the innovators has not met the demands of those who can provide funding. I'm saying this because in most countries, there are several programs. You either find people go through the military and have the necessary discipline, or there is a special program like we used to have. One goes through the National Youth Service and get the necessary discipline. Japan had a program where you go through, you work through, which gives you the necessary discipline. We have not attained that, and we still have some level of discipline that we need to instill among the innovators. And this is where the government actually needs to step in and stabilize so that those who come to invest can have comfort that their money would come. I'm talking in terms of that you can have a very good innovator, but they may not differentiate revenue from probably spend the entire revenue before they think about profits, that it's profit that you take and not the revenue. These are basic things, but we need, as a government, to work and be able to help. And that's how we can help the entire innovation system. Then we have the ecosystem where we are a bit behind from government. We are trying to create the incubation centers. But as I said earlier, the problem is that even though we have the Vision 2030, where we understand where we want to go, there is not sufficient funding that goes with it. in our ministry, we have decided that we cannot always be talking about the funding that Treasury can fund. Because, of course, Treasury would give you the money today. Tomorrow there is drought or something, they take the money away, the program is disrupted. So if you look at what we've been doing, in most cases, we have gone for public-private partnerships. And this is what we are targeting, to have a PPP arrangement, especially in the registries, coupled with open data, and then some partnership to create the support system for innovation, meaning that what we have, like in iHub and iLab and MLab and ALab that are coming, is just one part of it. But we need to, as a government, to build a proper incubation system that we would incubate these enterprises and move beyond where they are at the moment. So we have looked at the entire area, but as I said, there are several challenges in the sense that even though as much as we have done infrastructure, you still find that 36% of Africa is still not, does not have access to mobile telephony. And then there is in other countries that it was not to be that have accessibility to mobile, but moving with the technology. I'm saying this because you find some countries are still having the very early technologies that would not enable transactions through the mobile. The move to 3G and now move to 4G is actually very important. In this country, again, we did not wait that mobile operators who had just invested in 3G can think of moving to 4G. So what the government did, they went forward and said, we have a public-private partnership, we need to move to 4G so that we get a robust last-mile solution throughout the country. And that PPP is just about to begin so that we have that last-mile solution. And we are discussing how we can have fiber to practically every cell site so that you have more robust broadband to people throughout the country. And as they are looking at the investment, the government is saying we would be the anchor tenant, because government needs connectivity to hospitals in the rural areas, needs connectivity to schools in the rural areas. And because of this, all the MNOs have found it viable that they can invest in this last mile solution, which will be practically the best in the world. I'm not joking, but it will be the best in the world, meaning we can now stimulate innovation practically from every corner of this country. And if you combine that with the digitization programs in all registries, open data, now you create the climate for innovation beyond any imaginations. So as we look at mobile information society, we're looking at that area to improve innovation financing, and that's why we are here. We're looking at the challenges that we have, the ecosystem in itself. I see many faces who work in this innovation ecosystem, and the e-transform, it is something that we must do to change not only service delivery to the people in this country, but throughout the continent. But more importantly, as I said, we can change Africa. We can practically change Africa. If we improved this transaction to cover the whole region of East Africa, there will be more intra-East African trade. And this is my best point I normally say, that once people begin to move money within the region, you improve the trade within Africa. If you look, the trade within Africa is only 17% of the total trade. And we know that if you improved it up to, say, 25%, you practically change the entire Africa, meaning that the resources you would get from that improvement will be much more than what we go to beg from Western countries, and make people more proud of themselves, more confident. And that is the confidence we need to begin to innovate for ourselves to change this continent. So from IT, we can impact on trade, we can impact on our overall economic performance, we can impact practically on anything. I could stand here and speak the whole afternoon, but I can see a wink from there that I should stop here, and maybe when we get to an interactive process, I can respond to many other questions. Thank you very much.